Andrew Tang has the weight of a nation on his shoulders. Singapore has one of the finest Formula One races in the world, but no local hero to cheer on. Nicknamed Mr. Consistency in 2014, in only his second year of single-seater racing, Tang is on course to bring his skills home to the streets of Singapore.
Hi, I'm Andrew Tang. I'm a professional racing driver. I started my racing journey when I was at the age of 7. Because there wasn't a track here in Singapore that was FIA approved, I had to do a lot of my racing overseas, like in the Southeast Asia region. And from there I progressed on to Europe, where I moved at the age of 15. I always entered quite a few of my races as the underdog. I mean, I was not very experienced, so although I struggled at the start, it was always about perseverance and pushing through, and the results came eventually. One of the most difficult experiences of my life was when I first moved to Europe. The level there was extremely high as compared to in Asia. I think the racing culture there is super advanced and there's a lot of passion into it. Some of the highlights of my racing in Europe were against guys like Verstappen, Leclerc, Esteban Ocon, a bunch of guys that are now in Formula One and obviously are elite racing drivers. It was a humbling experience at the start to struggle against them, but finally after a year of racing there, I came into my own and I was competing strongly against them, even beating them in some sessions. And that was actually when I was scouted by McLaren. I remember I was there for a race for the CIK FIA World Championships, and it was the same week as Formula One here in Singapore. And I had no idea about this, but my dad got a call saying that Ron Dennis wanted to meet us in Singapore and we had to fly back immediately. So we flew back to Singapore. At this point I was 17. I obviously still saw racing as more of a very serious hobby as compared to a career. And the first time I saw Ron Dennis, I was in a shirt and jeans and had really long hair and just disheveled. And the first thing he says to me is, "You look like a mop," you know. And it was just such a wake-up call. We proceeded to talk about many things, about how I wanted to proceed with my career and how McLaren would help me. So that was the start of McLaren playing a pivotal role in my life. So we came out with a program that promoted me from karting to the junior single-seaters on the way to Formula One, all as preparation. I mean, it was massive. They gave me a training program in terms of fitness, a diet program. I even was working with the same psychologist that was working with all the Formula One drivers, Dr. Aki. Although it was a very serious program, it felt like a family. You know, we were all very close-knit. Everyone was there because they cared about me, and we just worked seamlessly. It was amazing. At the time, I was only, like I said, 17, so I didn't even have my license yet, and I hadn't had the opportunity to drive the amazing cars that McLaren made. But just being in that environment and atmosphere was enough to propel me into another level in the racing. Yeah, so 2013 with Toyota Racing Series was a bit of a struggle. My first time into a Formula car as well, so that played a big part. I spent the year obviously honing my skills, improving, and I came back in 2014 and I just remember that at the start of the series they were doing a bit of a power ranking and no one was really expecting much from me, so I didn't show up in any of the rankings. But that actually fueled me, you know, that was nice to have that. And by the second race of the series, I actually won. So that came out of nowhere and I think a lot of people weren't expecting it. To be honest, I don't think I was expecting it as well. But from there I kind of caught fire and just went on a roll. I ended up winning 2 more races and finishing on the podium a total of like 10 times that series. And I was the first Singaporean and non-New Zealander to win the series. So it was a big part of my life, and all that time before that, the preparation during winter was with McLaren, and you know, it was something that I couldn't have done without them. After I won the Toyota Racing Series in 2014, the following winners were guys like Lance Stroll and Lando Norris, who again is with McLaren. And it just shows that McLaren has this really strong racing heritage and has all the right tools to bring drivers to their peak performance. Unfortunately for me, I received my enlistment letter and I had to enlist into NS. So because of that, I was actually dropped from the McLaren Young Driver program in 2014, right after I won, which was a bit of a shame. So I've had the opportunity to work with McLaren in many different aspects, not just the racing side. And I think that it's not just the product that they're selling, which is special, it's all the people behind the brand. And its family-like atmosphere that really is something different. I think all of that can really elevate an individual to his or her maximum performance. And this shows in the car. I think the McLaren 720S is one of the most amazing cars I've driven. It's truly a driver's car. And you can tell that it's from all the hard work behind the scenes, working on how it looks, to how it drives, and trying to cover everything in between. And with that, I think I have to say that it's one of the best cars I've ever driven in my life. So yeah, again, I am extremely grateful to have had this chance with McLaren, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself driving the McLaren 720S.